Hello! The purpose of this week's video is to go over a few of the concepts having to do with the evaluative essay. So if we go into the course content link and our module 3, there's only one more after this one, guys. Hang in there. You'll see the task list for this week. There's some important reading mentioned, so make sure you don't skip over that because it will help you to understand what you need to be doing as far as this assignment goes. I'd like for you to read the play Trifles and do the discussion forum. And at the end of chapter 28, there is a list of critical questions. You know, when we covered the literary analysis and fiction, and we did critical questions over fiction. And so this is critical questions while reading drama. So it's a good idea to, as you read that, be thinking about how you would answer those questions for your play that you are choosing from the assignment sheet. And after tomorrow night, when this discussion forum is due, then an example paper that evaluates trifles will pop up for you so that you can read that to see an example of the type of writing that you need to do for this assignment. So our assignment sheet is a play evaluation. So I wanted to point out, of course, that it's incredibly important for you to think about when you write evaluation, the strengths and the weaknesses of the writing. Okay, and I want you to think about these plays as they are written as a play script, not in its movie form. There are movie versions of these plays available, and you can watch them in order to give yourself an idea of how they look on the stage. But remember that you're evaluating the play's text, not the actors or the way that it looks on the stage if you watch the movie, okay? So in evaluating, this is much like if you have ever read a review of an album that has been released by one of the musicians that you like, or a movie critical review, or any kind of evaluation like that is basically kind of analyzing the piece as well as evaluating it. And you know, you have to establish criteria when you are going to be judging something, and you would likely take into consideration what your audience might expect for you to be looking at. For example, if you read a restaurant review, you're going to expect that the person is going to review the food, the atmosphere, maybe the cost, the service. You know, all of those things are expectations of a review of a restaurant. So for the criteria for your play, I've given you what the expectation is. So you are going to evaluate character, dramatic structure, and there's a chapter that you're reading about that, and the cultural issue. So again, we're bringing in this critical approach, like what you read in the McMahon book on chapter 34, that really discusses, you know, how something relates to the world. For example, if you were going to evaluate a play, you might go, you know, this was a great creation of characters and the plot moved along very well, but it didn't seem to fit in the context of today's world because we know more about whatever the subject is now than we did back then. For example, there was a play by Terrence McNally called Lips Together, Teeth Apart, and it was about people's fear and suspicion of AIDS. And you know, in it, some of the characters talk about, if I swim in the swimming pool, I'm going to get AIDS. Oh no. Well, of course that's incorrect. And as an audience, we know so much more about it now that their suspicions seem completely unrealistic. And so it may not really kind of meet our expectations for the cultural issue anymore for today's audience. So those are the three things that you're going to be looking at specifically in judging this play. You become the critical reviewer now and tell me if you think something is effective or not. Now, watch those vague words. Remember, we talked about writing with power back in Module 1. So you don't want to say things like good or bad, but give me more information. Like, was it effective or not? Was it intense or was it boring? Was it, think about the way that you would review a movie in a way and kind of apply it to the play that you are reading. And then there is an example for trifles, how I might break down the three criterion provided and evaluate just pieces of trifles for that. Now, there's no research required for this paper. If you want to add, you will have to make sure that you cite things correctly, and I'm working on your research papers still, so you should see those in the next few days. But this is 3 to 4 pages, okay? So keep in mind that that's fairly short, but I am expecting at least 3 full pages, okay? So that's what the assignment is all about. And if you want to kind of get started in a basic play analysis and evaluation mode, you might consider the basics. This attachment in the folder is just to give you some ideas on how you might go about looking at that text very closely. Okay, and then there's also a PowerPoint that has an evaluation chart that can give you some ideas on how you might go about evaluating the pieces. So the dramatic structure, for example, is it entertaining? Is the story itself believable and original? Did it have emotional power? And then when you evaluate the characters, are the characters believable? Are they realistic? Does it make sense that they do what they do in the world of the play? Are these characters that make you feel like, hey, I know this guy. This is supposed to be someone like my next door neighbor, that kind of thing. So this can give you some ideas in using the book To Kill a Mockingbird, but these same things can help provide you with an idea of how you want to evaluate the criteria within your play, okay? And the critical questions for drama are due on Friday. I may not have time to look those over before you turn in your essay on Sunday. So if you have any questions, if you're unsure about something, then please don't hesitate to send me an email and I will get back to you on that. Again, read the directions on how to save your Microsoft Word document and attach appropriately so that I can upload your papers and give them back to you with the comments on them. The thing that some people have done, I just wanted to put out a small warning in the past as they are evaluating literature, is they will use a source like Shmoop or Pink Monkey. Those are, or eNotes, there's a ton of them online that can tell you what the summary of the play is. Keep in mind that that's someone else's summary, that's someone else's ideas, and you might arrive at something different if you read the play yourself. And usually what I find is the analysis or evaluations that are based just on a summary that someone finds online are pretty basic and not done very well. And sometimes people run into some problems there. So my suggestion is anytime you are writing about literature, do not use those sources. Do not cite them in your paper because it makes it look like all you did was read the summary online rather than the full text itself. So don't look online for a summary and then cite the summary from online. That's a really bad idea. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. Be looking for the feedback on your research papers. Good luck to you this week and talk to you again soon.